Welcome to this Windows and Computer channel, and we were talking, of course, yesterday in one video about the future of Windows. On the Insider program, the latest build of 20H1 has no watermark, but it still says 1903, so, we're obviously not there yet. But there's kind of an obvious way that they're kind of rushing a little more. They want to have things going a little faster. And one of the reasons and one of the things that they're doing, actually, one of the ways that they will actually do this is, of course, they lowered the number of new features. Now, the next Windows won't have a lot of new features also. Like November 2019 update doesn't have a lot of new features. But there's a shape-shifting, I would say, future for Windows. Because although the bulk of all Windows devices is still computers, we are looking into a future that is not as clear as to what types of devices Windows might run on. A lot of what is going to happen is in the cloud, and many of you have been asking me, do you see a cloud future for Windows? Yeah, when you look at Chromebooks, Chrome OS is a cloud-based OS. Basically, it works because you're connected constantly on the internet, and that's the way that it was designed to work with. Windows 10 still works without internet connectivity, although it's crippled and there's a lot of stuff that you won't be able to use. But still it works, and you can do pretty much what you want being off the internet. But the future of Windows 10, I think, will be a connected future. More and more, Microsoft talks about these always on or always connected PCs. And that's where I think Windows is going. 20H1 is the first one that will actually implement a little more interaction with cloud services. We already have cloud services in Windows 10 when we look at the syncing of settings between Microsoft account, the automatic backup on OneDrive of your pictures, and so there's already a cloud-based part of Windows. But I think more and more of what we will do with Windows in the next few years will be cloud-based a lot more. And I wouldn't be surprised that at some point in the near future, we could have a Windows 10 version that requires you to be connected and stay connected in order for it to work, because a lot of what it will do and need and resource will come from Microsoft cloud services. So that's one thing. The more and more, they're still talking about the ARM devices, and now we learned that Windows 32 and 64-bit Win32 apps and 64-bit apps will actually run on ARM devices eventually. That also will be an interesting future, because that means you might buy a PC in the near future that is an ARM-based PC, not Intel, not AMD, and still run pretty much every software that you would like to have on your computer or tablet, with the promise of much better battery life, because ARM devices will often have a lot more battery life. But one thing for sure is that we're seeing a big change, and I think since the Windows team moved to changed and is not its own team anymore, but rather integrated with the cloud services and Azure. What's interesting in there is the fact that we have also a shifting of the direction of Windows. We have some things that wanted to happen are not going to happen anymore, and we are seeing less new features. I think we're going into an interesting future. 2020 will be part of that interesting outlook. I think 2020 will give us a general direction of where we're going in Windows 10, what's shifting, and hopefully a better future for Windows 10, and let's hope a lot of stability. So kind of interesting when you think about it. one of the things also, I think it's okay that there's less new features. A lot of, there's a subset of users there. I mean, if you're a real PC enthusiast, new features is something that you like. And I get a few comments when I talked about the fact that there's less new features. A lot of the insiders actually are saying, it's kind of boring now because there's not a lot of new stuff to test out. And there's a part of the Windows users that do want new features and want to try out new things. Yet, we got to also think that the majority of Windows users never use these features, never use the functionalities that are added every version. And they don't really care. They just want to have a computer that runs, and that runs well, fast, and doesn't crash. So kind of an interesting aspect. And I think we're kind of moving more in that direction now than in the direction where Windows will have all sorts of new gizmos and bells and whistles in the future. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.